have myself a great time in Rivals, and we have ourselves a great game for you guys. As you saw earlier on stream, game number one, Armed and Healing, was able to absolutely dominate Strat Pack. As we now move into game number two, we have LeBron Lovers going up against Guardians of the Sun.
I imagine LeBron lovers not really starting with the man on the Lakers in this situation, more so the man on Marvel Rivals, which, not gonna lie, would be insane to see a Lakers collaboration anytime in this game. But either way, should be a fun time. And if I remember correctly, especially after our map picks and bans, we should be starting on Hall of Djalia. That's gonna be Convergence this time around.
Yeah, very excited for that. And to keep in mind, LeBron Lovers, after yesterday, they ended the day 2-0, and they had the craziest end to their second match where they had a 2-0, but they had the craziest C9 from the other team where we thought their game was lost, and then the other team C9 and they were able to take the victory. So they are living on some highest of the highs right now. As Guardians of the Sun, I'm not exactly sure how their second game went, but they did lose their first game up against who they played yesterday. They lost against LeBron Lovers yesterday.
Okay.
So they tried to get revenge today.
Got you. So it's up for a revenge type beat today, if you will. But either way, looking forward to it, especially on the cusp of the fact that we're getting into season 2 coming up. Not sure if you or anyone else has seen the new character, but Emma Frost, new Vanguard, which I am interested in, not just because of the thickness. Why would you ask? No, certain abilities that might make it a problem, especially when it comes to team control.
Yeah, I mean, the ability to grab people out of ultimates is absolutely ridiculous, but I was looking at those team-up abilities with Psylocke and Magneto, and I'm like, uh-oh, this might be a problem, folks. This is going to be busted.
Absolutely. Season 2 coming in with new matchups, new team-ups, possibly a brand new meta, maybe multiple at that one. For me personally, though, Rocket Raccoon getting buffed was kind of on my wish list, but not in the way that I did expect, considering that Winter Soldier also got picked off essentially from being able to get on the infinite ammunition, but still looking like a danger, especially in a triple support type meta.
Yeah, focusing in on this matchup as we can see the bans on screen. Moon Knight and Groot getting banned, which Moon Knight has been a staple in this tournament so far. We've had dingers, obviously, on the side of LeBron Lovers, who has just absolutely been crazy with it. The one interesting thing is we see the Protect on the Winter Soldier, who we've seen that character get banned so many times. So to see them actually getting protected and likely seeing it in this matchup will be very interesting to see.
I mean, when it comes to these picks and bans, I'm not surprised, especially the Winter Soldier Protect, right? You really want to just keep a hold of the Tainted Voltage, and then Kraken Impact is going to be your major play later down the line. But then when you really talk about these team compositions, to no surprise, seeing it from Mizuki as well as Rogue, the Doctor Strange Magneto lineup, as iconic as it is, can be fairly annoying to go against because it's what? Shields that you have to worry about, and then Eye of Agamotto just straight into Meteor M is going to be the most painful thing about your day.
Yeah, it's a nasty tank combination. And we also see both teams not even playing the Winter Soldier, but both teams highlighting and playing the Hela, who's just the one-shot nightmare that continuously pops into my dreams that I just no, wake up in a cold sweat thinking about.
Absolutely. You just hear those Night Sword Thorns, and then in the distance, Goddess Destruction, just the Hell Unleashed. Absolutely have nightmares about. But of course, as we get started right now, leading the frontline charge, you are going to have Mizuki at least able to put up the shields extra more, coming in from Sofa on the Invisible Woman.
Oh, great opening pick coming in from Lumptious on that Hela.
And absolutely right now, Lumptious able to find one, but POV over to Mick. Twisty right now just having to put up the pentagram off the shield. Synthix off in the distance though, just trying to play it a little sneaky, especially coming in from the Psylocke right now. Lumptious finds another off the Thorns, but Twisty finds another. Dark Cape AoE damage coming out in full force. Have to mention, if you don't let that go, it does give you anti-heal, putting you in a precarious position, but Twisty knew this, found another. Same coming in for Lumptious, a quick and easy take on the point here to Djalia.
what a great opening gambit from Guardians of the Sun and Luncius, man. That was like almost an ace. I think that was 4 confirmed kills from Luncius alone. So they already, if you're LeBron lovers, going to have to find a way to put some pressure on to Luncius on this Hella.
I mean, absolutely. Luncius is just really given a lot of space, almost too much space, if you will, starting to get a little dangerous. But we want to talk about ultis and ulti differentials. I mean, Nunny just almost has the Kraken impact built up at 93% and counting. Same for Luncius right now at a staggering 66%. So if you're on the side of defense, you really just want to watch out. But as I say that, Nunny already has Kraken impact available. Gizmo finds too, especially off the Thorns and the Crow Storm coming in against McTwisty. Mizuki, though, off the Thorns especially. Luncius finally taken down, giving your team a reprieve.
And if you're the side of LeBron lovers, being able to get this cart stopped early after giving it up quickly, it's going to buy you that many more fights on the second point in order to waste that much more time. So very well done by them.
And just right now, Guardians of the Sun just trying to keep up the attack pressure as best as possible. But for Dingers right now, considering they do have the Luna Snow on board, this would apply the chilling effect, right, of the extra Monstro spawn. You did get it off of that. But as I say that the Eye of Agamotto that I did mention earlier, coming into it with the Dance of the Butterfly, that's going to provide some damage. But I saw that Dingers was still able to get out of the way, but not in time of anything else. Still gets taken down. And honestly, with the extra healing, not going to be enough here, especially for Wolfrax and Mizuki, but now the Kraken impact coming into it against LeBron lovers, not having a good time whatsoever. Gizmo falls, but still not able to secure another in the end.
I think if you're the side of LeBron lovers, you'll take that ultimate exchange because that was 2 for 3, and you got, you know, the Kraken impact out of the way and the Dance of the Butterfly and the Eye of obviously 3 huge ultimates on their side, so you don't have to deal with that. But they're still gonna have the fate of both worlds from this Luna Snow to really. They're not even gonna touch the point. I am so surprised they were just so willing to give that up.
I mean, when you think about it, right, they really had no choice but to give that up there, considering they're that close. Sure, they could have been able to retake, maybe gather some space back, but in that choke point, you're just going to have to figure yourself out, stop them at 0-2 if possible. I say that, though. Gizmo finds another against McTwisty off the Thorns, but now we have the Goddess of Death to worry about in the sky, and I imagine Hella can go twice as high, but also fall twice as hard as we have that, the Meteor M, and then the Invisibility Barrier, or with a Slam Dunk, second, even a third here from Dingers after the fact. Synthix just caught, unfortunately, by the Monstro spawn. And now off the fall, big visibility at some corner points. A little too dangerous for LeBron lovers to have to contend with.
And they get a late stagger onto Nunny on that Winter Soldier, so it's only going to be that much more time wasted. Mizuki going to have the Eye of Agamotto to use in this fight, but Jar has held on to the fate of both worlds, so they're going to have a lot of sustained healing in this next fight.
I mean, absolutely sustained healing and even sustained damage, or boosted damage, I should say, if you're managing to toggle fast enough. But I imagine you're just going to need the healing to really just push through this next team fight coming up, as Mizuki would have the Eye of Agamotto. And as soon as that's popped, might make it dangerous. Speaking of pop, though, we have both the Eye of Agamotto just right in the Dance of the Butterfly. Mizuki just really trying to hard counter against any push that LeBron lovers might have. Kraken impact coming out in full force yet again. Finds one, finds a second, finds a third against Emerald, Dingers, and Gizmo, all going down and out in quick, easy succession. But Jaro, noticeably enough, still has yet to use the Snow ulti.
Yeah, I kind of talked about my nightmares of waking up in a cold sweat to Hella headshots, but I think everyone's nightmares are hearing again, and their dreams, the Horn of Proteus comes out.
And the Horn of Proteus to hit, but not before the Invisibility Barrier just coming up in full force. Synthix, however, instead of the Psylocke, now we swapped over to the Mr. Fantastic, which I imagine Brainiac Bounce just might be the play a little later on, especially against Guardians of the Sun. If they're not careful enough, Synthix finds one. Sofa goes down and out. That's just gotta be absolute brutality. That's your own in-game canonical wife we're talking about, Mr. Fantastic, but that's fine. Dinger still able to get one off the Monstro spawn, and now the Meteor M just right in the Goddess of Death Slam Dunk coming into it from Rogue against Jaro, and now Eye of Agamotto down below. Multiple ultimates going out, including the Armed and Dangerous. Kraken impact coming into it from Nunny. Luncius finding another from the sky, and now Dinger's just trying to cling on to dear life with the spears involved. Not going to be enough, as both McTwisty and Nunny and Luncius yet again making sure defense is tattered, putting themselves at 0-3 so far.
And a big time bank set, 2 minutes and 9 seconds on the clock to cap off what was a very impressive attack coming out from Guardians of the Sun. As I mentioned earlier, they did end up losing to LeBron lovers yesterday. So what a great opening gambit to start the revenge tour.
Man, about to say Gambit and mention it, not even in the game. Man, could have made a good name for himself. We don't have him yet. Makes me upset, actually, now that I think about it. But besides that, full puns aside from that, we'll say, talking about certain heroes and picks going into it, right? What did surprise me, Jaro saving the ultimate just for a little late. Did work out really as intended, got down and out just a little early, but then that push. Dangerous one at that one. Did you see the amount of ultimates we got at the very end of that? We had the invisibility barrier, we had the Kraken impact, the Eye of Agamotto, Dance of the Butter. Oh, my head hurts. I kind of forgot how chaotic Marvel Rivals could be in commentary.
Yeah, it's a lot happening at the same time as we do see Synthics, which our lovely host Kate mentioned to us in our, private conversations, that there was a rumor that Synthics was going to be pulling out the Spider-Man, and everyone loves the neighborhood Spider-Man. Great hero. In my comp games, I find Spider-Man one of the most annoying heroes to deal with, especially since I'm on console and I can't aim. So going against the Spider-Man is very hard, and then his ultimate is just devastating.
I was gonna say, when it comes to Spider-Man, right now, one of the most banned heroes in game, only just second to Wolverine. But speaking of banned, I'm gonna actually show you why Spider-Man. Okay, maybe not. I was gonna have to put on a whole thing. I'll show you why Spider-Man is banned. And then Synthics going down out in fashion, just trying to put on an ambush, but Mizuki absolutely denying that, especially after the Thor Mjolnir bash.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the flank coming in from Nunny is also going to be put into the ground, gets found out, thrown into the spawn room by Gizmo.
Man, absolutely tossed, but from above, you are going to have Magneto to light down the pressure, especially off the shrapnel. Of course, that is going to be at least one Rogue Namor going up in the sky with Lumptious having swapped over from the Hela, able to keep themselves alive for a little longer and actually keep everyone down and out off the impact, though. Twisty going down at last second with the Awakened State coming into it from Thor.
As they're trying to basically just play cleanup duty at this point, is it feels like the fight's already been won, and it definitely has. He's got to clean up one more. Just the Spider-Man at this point capture is now LeBron lovers, and again to come back after kind of getting dominated a little bit on that attack from Guardians of the Sun, to now come out and basically have the same speed of capture that they had against you.
Man, it absolutely in the background dingers. When we also talk about ulti differentials again, the side of attack, you would have Gizmo with Dance of the Butterfly available momentarily, and dingers building themselves up, at least in the moment. But for Sofa, that invisibility barrier could be an impact play of keeping almost everyone on the enemy team at bay, especially the fact that you now have to worry about the monstro spawn. So if you want to set up for a good team fight here, now would be the time. But I say that getting pulled in could be a little dangerous here, especially in for McTwisty. And in the background, Lumptious just wasn't enough to contend against the Awakened State coming into it from Mizuki, and leading the charge. Doctor Strange off the shielding, and that's going to be the Kraken impact to hit, as well as the Meteor. And from up top, Noni finds one, but with two on the board for Gizmo. No slam dunk available. Actually, a third against Synthics.
And we see Mizuki, who's on the Thor, was one of the big heroes they're making a name on yesterday, where they were just a terror on any team's backline when they were on the Thor. Have already been seeing that once again, but Gizmo has been the star standout so far on this attack from LeBron lovers on the sideline. Dance of the Butterfly is going to come out and finds one.
Oh, a brutal one at that one. And you just might be thinking, hey, why the solo ulti? Well, if it works, it works. And against an impact player like Nunny, it just might have been the best thing to do in that situation. And really, just when it comes to the op, it's just leading the front charge right now. Chimera in the background, however, would have the invisibility bearer. But now, instead of that, we are going to have to contend with the Goddess of Death back up top. And combined with the invisibility barrier makes it a problem. You don't know where the Hela is. Neither do you know where the Eye of Agamotto is coming out from. But just in time before McTwisty could even get any impact play, Wolfarax is right there with the fate of both worlds. Make sure attack side's still alive for now.
As this is only going to allow, with the Horn of Proteus, so much pressure. They're able to find Ofa, however, in response. So it's going to have to force him to back out soon. You say that, but Mizuki's found another.
Found another, but speaking of more, I guess we're putting on the K-pop playlist, especially with the fate of both worlds. Lumis and Chimera, obviously just finding 2 more off the board and off rip at that will make that a 3rd coming into it from Synthics. With the stretch abilities, Wolfrax and Dingers just finding themselves having to make the walk of shame back from spawn.
And this is what you needed if you were Guardians of the Sun. It just felt like LeBron lovers just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. There was no resistance. They're finally able to find their footing on this defense. The problem is they don't really have any ultimates online. I mean, they might get their Meteor M and their Invisible Boundary, but they're going to be facing down this Meteor M that Rogue already has online and is ready, locked and loaded.
I mean, I'm really just trying to think about if the Invisible Boundary could make a good play, especially if you have some ultis online, give the other team a problem in having to guess and expect just where it's coming from. I mean, like Tekken, it would be a 50-50, which I'm a little too used to, but for I'm Rogue, I mean, you'd have to counter back against that way before that boundary just goes up, or maybe wait after the fact, catch everyone off guard like that. But as I say that, both teams would just have the Meteor M Invisible Boundary, and one goes up from Sofa right now, Goddess of Death back up top, and that's one slam dunk from Nunny. Dance to the Butterfly, however, coming in full force, just not enough. Catch him at the edge, and that's still too much healing for you to have to contend with, making the Dance of the Butterfly just absolutely null and void. Gizmo really feeling that one. Another Meteor and back up top just finds one healer in the form of Jaro, and back and forth, trade for trade, blow for blow for either team. Either side of LeBron lovers and Guardians of the Galaxy. Sun, excuse me.
Yeah, but in the meantime, while that Dance of the Butterfly put a lot of pressure in the back line, the McTwisty came in and got a huge Eye of Agamotto and was able to get 2 picks off the back of that, and Guardians of the Sun was able to send basically everyone back to spawn from that. The thing for LeBron lovers, though, is they're coming in this next fight, and they'll have the God of Thunder as well as the fate of both worlds, but I'm worried these ults are stacking for Guardians of the Sun.
I mean, absolutely. When you really think about just the optics here right now on the side, Guardians of the Sun, and Wolfrax right now just able to pop up with the fate of both worlds, just trying to guarantee any form of a push, but it is going to be the God of Thunder back up top and a dive back down for Mizuki, just looking a little worse for wear, especially off health, and goes down in the moment, but Brainiac Bounce just up and active right now for Synthics. Able to find one against Sofa, but Lump just finishing up the job against I'm Rogue, so no more support and no more Vanguard at that one.
And if you're the Guardians of the Sun, you've now brought this down to 1:40 left on the clock. You may have spent quite an amount of ultimates in that fight, but you kept 2 of your key ones. You're going to have your Invisible Boundary, and in the middle of this fight, McTwisty will build up to another Eye of Agamotto. So you give yourself still some tools to work with on the defense.
I mean, absolutely, just Guardians of the Sun, just sticking to their guns. I mean, really a 3-2, so all they'd have to do is just further, really just keep on defense and stack this at 2-3, but in charge McTwisty right now would have Eye of Agamotto up and readily available. You want to pair that with a Meteor M, could be the nastiest of slam dunks that I've seen in a very long minute, but Dance of the Butterfly just momentarily interrupting that, and a smart Invisible Boundary play coming into it from Chimera to stop anything in their tracks. Double boundaries at that one, and now Eye of Agamotto, the hit not to that much effect, sadly, but you want plenty of effect. Wolfrax finding one Icicle Clap against Synthics. Warner Proteus going down, at least packing in damage, but not enough to find any key eliminations. Unless Mizuki finds one, finds a second off the Awakened State, and now going in for a third, it is Dingers, cleaning up the job against Nunny.
And you'll still have the Hella Ultimate in the sky to at least threaten damage, so you can't push up as far if you're the Sun of Guardians of the Sun, but all their 6 are ready and ready to engage.
Ready to engage at that one from cross distance. Dingers finds a second off the Night Sword Thorn, and Lump just had no choice but to stick up in the sky with the healing bubble, just secure a little more guaranteed health. Back up top, the Meteor M finds 2 off of that one. Wolfrax, Gizmo, everybody and their sister, their brother, going down, especially just on the side. Dingers keeping up a raucous performance. That's Chimera C down, and now forcing us into overtime.
So we see the fate of both worlds just holding point and just, trying to stall for time, as now the players are back for Guardians of the Sun.
And not only that, Brainiac Bouncer really just trying to set it home here. Synthix doing anything and everything possible. That Luna Snow and Luna Snow violence coming in from Jar Jar and Wolfrox with trade for trade, pick for pick, blow for blow. Nunny and Synthix finds one, finds a second. Rogue and Mizuki just having a painful day. And now with overtime set in stone, takes us at 2-3.
As Jaro ends up being the hero for Guardians of the Sun, having that Fate of Both Worlds online at the end to stall just enough to get those players back who, especially Synthix, who, as you mentioned, had the Mr. Fantastic ult and was able to clear point and throw down a lot of damage and allow the team to clear him off and ultimately win map number 1. Yeah, the between Spider Islands and Shin Shibuya, the amount of close quarters, short close alleyways and congested points you're playing on that just make playing petty with their defensive trap setup so dangerous. The mines can just absolutely obliterate teams. It's really hard to take away that ability because there's so many great places to put your trap and hide it away for them to not be able to shoot at it so easily.
Absolutely, you just have to figure out, hey, so where are these mines coming from? You look and it's like, is that just completely glitched into the map to a point that I cannot shoot it in any way, shape, or form? Yes, it is, and you're gonna have to deal with it at least till the end of the game, or at least the best of your abilities. But either way, those spider mines can be so incredibly debilitating. There's very little you can do, well, except destroy the mines, of course, and the minesweeper.
As a little bit of an update, we do have that the tournament admins and staff had made the executive decision to make sure the bans and saves are going to be exactly the same, just to make competitive integrity just fine. So we will see the exact same ones this time around. So we will get to see Gizmo on their taunted Penny Parker hero.
Understandable and respectable. I imagine after that one, obviously you don't want to go down a path of, oh, we already saw their picks and bans, let's just ban the heroes they really picked to protect. But either way, still going with the same that we saw the last time. So no more Moon Knight, no more Doctor Strange, and the account of McTwisty just got a little too good at keeping up the defense, or really just the push on offense, coming in with just a pentagram of Ferala and then the shielding on top of that. The Eye of Agamotto did make some fair impact plays, and then double protect, same as last time, off the Penny Parker and the Groot.
Yeah, and then the final bans were Luna Snow and Winter Soldier. So we will be seeing, excuse me, we'll be seeing those come in shortly. And for me, the big question for LeBron lovers, as I mentioned, we did see them before, all the chaos ensued. We saw them in a triple Vanguard setup. And, even at the tops of the tops in season 2 for MRC, from what I've been seeing, a lot of teams have been favoring Triple Vanguard. I'll admit, it's not always with, Penny Parker, but Triple Vanguard has been a main state composition.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to Triple Vanguard, the one thing that I'm so used to seeing off of that is typically Cloak and Dagger, Invisible Woman, and then maybe either the Luna Snow or possibly Rocket Raccoon, right? You have 2 supports that are able to actually, or wait, hold on. I just lost my train of thought. That might be my concussion speaking. I'm not going to lie. Oh, goodness. But no, I apologize for that one. Brain fart aside. Hold on. Yeah, let me just get back into this game. My bad.
No worries. For the side of the defense, as we know this is what they're rolling out on, we're going to see the Magneto and Penny Parker set up. Gizmo playing that taunted Penny Parker. We're going to have dingers with no Winter Soldier in the game. They're going to play the defensive Punisher, and we're going to have further supports with Luna Snow being out of the game. Wolfrax is going to go to the Invisible Woman, and they're going to have Sofa play the Loki.
Ooh, okay. So just coming into it, I imagine, forget triple support. You want triple heals in the price of one. Okay, I say that. Do not tell me that is a Venom twerk emote that I'm saying.
Let's
specifically
go!
with the
The
Marvel
April
versus
Fool's twerk
Capcom.
emote.
With the Marvel versus Capcom default, or actually player 2 Venom skin. Would be nice to have more NBC collabs either way. Getting into the game already. PvP on the Jaro, which instead of the Luna Snow, has been banned entirely. We are getting the Groot.
As we see dingers on this defensive high ground, just playing on this Punisher turret, as they are able to find one before losing the turret.
Man, turret just gone and out, and we were mentioning how earlier Gizmo on the Penny Parker just might be a problem for everyone involved, or really just on the side of attack, if you will, making it a problem just to really get in on this next point here. Virgins, and as I say that, Spider-Man's really playing into it well, but both Mizuki and McTwisty going at it, that Magneto on Magneto violence, if you will, but back up top, it is going to be Sofa, just diving in off the Loki, providing in triple heals and triple support at that one.
As we see just a slow, patient attack coming in from Guardians of the Sun. However, Rogue has taken down what his picks are going back and forth.
And back and forth at that one, but Jaro finding the Thorn at least onto one more back by the Invisible Woman. But as I say that, McTwisty and Nunny still able to capitalize and guarantee more kills off rip. Lumptious especially. The infinite ammunition perk couldn't have come at a better time here. Now they have Nunny and the Punisher and Rocket playing an aggressive Rocket at that one, finding so before they're even able to back to their team.
Yeah, I mean, for Rocket, it's, as a player as someone who plays a lot of Rocket, it's about, mostly during the fight, all you're going to be doing is pumping in heals, pumping in heals. But when your team starts to get into an advantageous position, that's when you can start to find yourself playing a little bit more aggressive and hunting for kills. As we see Gizmo now going to activate the Penny ultimate.
About to say, speaking of that ruthless aggression, the Spider Sweep coming online, and Dance of the Butterfly in from Synthics actually managed to sneak into the back line and find 1, 3, and almost a fourth, but McTwisty able to guarantee that with Synthics finds a third against Mizuki. And now with the Spore Bomb and a Groot Ultimate online, that's going to make it a quick and easy team fight here, especially for Jaro after the fact.
A nasty work coming in from Synthics. It's not every day you get to see the Dance of the Butterfly just slicing and getting so many kills like that. It can be a very tough ultimate to take advantage of, and that they did that time around. Great to see from Guardians of the Sun and Synthics.
Man, wild to see that one, but now back on the bottom. Dinger's able to get back up top against the invisible barrier, but now with the Slam Dunk Meteor M coming out in full force, double barrier, and then Dance of the Butterfly into the Loki clone, I imagine is going to get chaotic very soon, very fast, and even more so, especially off the firepower extra coming in from both Punisher, Dingers, absolutely insane, just finds 1, 2, 3, 4, a full team kill with the final judgment.
Once again, coming in after the DC and pulling out as hero play, just like they did yesterday. Dingers showing out on this Punisher. Both sides really don't have any ultimates. I mean, Synthics is going to get this Dance of the Butterfly, as Mizuki, however, on the Mantis, has this ultimate available, which is going to provide that much needed sustain in this next fight for LeBron lovers.
And LeBron lovers really need to sustain as much as possible, really just be able to push through this as best as possible, if you will, which is an ulti up momentarily. I mean, if you own a side of attack, you would have Dance of the Butterfly to really just shut anything down, but you would need to do it and fast, as you'd also have 1, 2, 3 ultis. Defense, including Gizmo, going down momentarily, but in coming back would have the Spider Sweeper. I say that Sofa's Revive Beacon, the BRB, couldn't have come at a better time here, allowing for a quick ulti pop-off, and Synthics is only able to find one off the Dance, and now Jaro just finding themselves cornered a little too close for caution.
As again, they still have not gone down in the moment. McTwisty's also found one. And now with the final judgment, Nutty gets another, as this might be their opportunity. They've already capped second point, but now they're going to be able to buy themselves a lot of free space on this third point.
And now both teams opting in for the Rocket plays instead. Did see a little bit of Loki in from Sofa, but I imagine wanting to swap for the extra advantage of the BRB Beacon, and then Cosmic Yarn Amplifier later down the line. We did see coming in from Lumptious and the combination of Nunny for infinite ammunition. Same can be Dingers here, whose final judgment, as impactful as it was, insane earlier. And even though Synthics goes down, we're mentioning the BRB able to bring back Synthics, coming in from Lumptious, but the Punisher turret! Nunny tried putting it down. Dingers tried putting it down, but unfortunately it just was not close enough. And now where there's one barrier, there is another. One goes down a little earlier than before. Dingers, Sofa, and Wolfrax have a final judgment. The Cosmic Yarn Amplifier and the barrier all down. Dingers capitalizing, finds another with I'm Rogue, able to clean up the fight.
Yeah, these final judgments for both sides have been coming through in massive ways, but Dingers continuing to find multiple picks and kills every single time. With that, as we do see Dingers trying to apply a bunch of pressure on a Synthics able to get out. We do have for the side of this defense, Mizuki has gone over to the Groot now, and we're going to. Yeah, it's interesting because Mizuki was on that Mantis before.
And on the Mantis before, I imagine they were wanting to at least play for the sustain, like you did mention a little earlier, but swapping back over maybe didn't see the potential in it after all. But now getting a little dangerous and too close to call here. I mean, we're at 2-0, and Final Judgment is fully up and active for Nunny with Synthics finding another off the dash forward. Rogue taken out by the Shurikens, and now Dance with the fly back up, as well as the Groot ulti tried tossing it, and I don't believe worked out in your favor as well as you did imagine, especially if you are Mizuki here. Synthics finds a third one, and honestly, attacking team now at 0-3 here.
Minute 47 on the clock. Shin Shibuya, a map where I talked about how attacking and getting that first capture point can be very difficult. It could take a lot of time. So to be able to capture all 3 points with a minute and a half on the clock, you are going to take that if you're Guardians of the Sun. And now you set the win condition to take this 2-0 and get your revenge on LeBron lovers. All you have to do is stop them from capping all 3 points.
I mean, we did see this in game 1 where LeBron lovers almost came dangerously close to really take this, what was it, 2-3 game stat line. And now with the hero picks in bans, I mean, already up in active, starting to see, or really just seeing in full force, how these teams had to change, had to shift, especially leading into the first set of the game.
We do see on this defense, Synthics pulling out the Mr. Fantastic once again, who always like to make the joke where you essentially have a third tank when you pop those abilities. You're essentially a Vanguard. So he plays great alongside that Magneto, and that Groot will help be able to hold down that front line and look for picks. They are going to keep playing the Rocket, and especially on these convergence maps, I really like having the Rocket Raccoon because you lose one of these convergence maps on defense, it's really hard to capitalize and stay strong. So being able to have that res to keep that in if something goes wrong is always really nice to have.
Man, especially with Guardians of the Sun just now finding themselves on defense here, you have to contend and really tango with the fact that Groot is going. One thing, but now,
as we see on this defense, Gizmo trying to find the heads of one of the players, trying to just create an opening and look for an advantage to try and push him, but so much damage is being thrown on his Mizuki, who's on that Thor who we've seen and known and loved, trying to get in the back line and find something, but they go down.
Man, and Mizuki just wasn't enough in the awakened state to really push in the front line attack, and now for Twisty and Nunny on the side. The Sun here, made a charge. I mean, a turret placement here would be fairly dangerous. You only just want to go for the hit scan options viable to you, as Jaro and Nunny still find 2, one off the third and another off the shotgun.
Minute already off the clock for LeBron lovers trying to capture the first point. Dinger is able to find one, but will it be enough as we see the respawns coming in? But the heals are there for the side, as it's going to force the backing up on the side of Guardians of the Sun.
I mean, obviously, you don't want to get pushed back here, but the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier should to you at least a little bit of space. I say that. Dingers pop the Final Judgment. Mick Twisty! Absolutely 1, 2, damn near 4 pick eliminations off a pick slam dunk from the Meteor M.
McTwisty said, I don't need the Eye of Agamotto, I have the Meteor M. And absolutely dominates, getting the late exit pick onto Sofa, which is only going to cause more delay in the attack from the side of LeBron lovers. They do have the Loki ultimate. The question is, who do you look to duplicate from either team?
You know, I can't believe I'm saying this, but you just might have to duplicate Chimera, see if it's a sustain off the ultimate, especially coming in from the invisible barrier. But if you want to get wild with it, controversially enough, you just might want to copy Synthics for the Brainiac bounce, and on a contested point, as close as it is, not be such a bad idea. But speaking of great ideas, great plays at that one, Gizmo finds another off the Thorn, and Sofa and Dingers following in suit to actually allow for LeBron lovers to cap point here.
Yeah, and I don't think there's going to be attempts from either side to be able to touch. They're just going to give it up. If you're the side of Guardians of the Sun, you wasted a lot of time. You wasted more than half of the time. They had about a minute and a half by the time the point got captured, so you're going to take that. And they got some ultimates to work with. Synthics will have the Brainiac bounce, and we'll have the tangling void from the side of Jaro Jaro.
It would be a scary one at that one. I mean, the Spore Bomb right into the Void would be brutal to contend with. I mean, with Sofa right now putting up the Loki heals, not only the best place to just place it down just yet, but speaking of ultis, actually Jaro Jaro just really going full send with it and still allows for LeBron Lovers to find some reprieve, but not to that much of an effect as Guardians of the Sun there to really pack in the damage. Find 1, 2, 3, almost 4 multi-pick eliminations and damn near full team wipe.
And it's still a pretty much even fight, but the spawn points are in the advantage of LeBron Lovers at this point. So if you're the side of Guardians of the Sun, you can't afford to continue to fight up for this long. As we see Mizuki now trying to buy some space on the Thor, but Wolfrex has been sent back to the spawn room. You're down a healer if you're LeBron Lovers.
Man, if you are LeBron Lovers right now, you just want to play it careful and maybe play it a little safer than need be. Just get yourself some room to breathe and reprieve, because right now, Guardians taking full advantage and they're actually having a bad day, making it everybody's problem, if you will, especially for Nunny, just finding more off the shotgun, and even a second against Mizuki, who I believe couldn't even make it out of awakened state in time.
That they could not. And, you know, both these teams for this next fight, I'm looking at Gizmo, who's going to have the Hella ultimate, can throw down a lot of pressure and a lot of damage with this.
It could be brutal. I mean, insane. Actively predicted as now playing from the corner, trying just to find a few key picks, especially McTwisty just left out in the open here. No shielding available, but that Goddess of Death not as effective as I really would have liked to have seen here. Lumptious, however, coming in with the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier back. Actually, Wolfrax only having one up. I almost thought Chimera C had put theirs up just to make sure they get through this team fight with the sustain at that one. But now the Tangling Void and the web of snares coming into it from Jaro Jaro. Finds an assist against Gizmo with Nunny able to keep him through the backline, off the pressure, off the damage, and now another coming into it. Sofa was still able to pick the clone.
But McTwisty was able to find dingers on the Punisher, so that's a lot of damage off of the field. I'm Rogue is also extremely low on the Magneto, so you have to back up and get those heals, as Guardians of the Sun still has 3 ultimates they could throw into this next fight. Chimera C could just give them the sustain they need with the Invisible Boundary.
I mean, one can only hope so. I mean, the Invisible Boundary would be a good counter back against I'm Rogue's ulti coming into it from the Meteor, but the Boundary really Brainiac bounce coming into it full force from
as we
the
now see
side. LeBron Lovers just gone to Synthics.
Yeah, Nunny on this Punisher has done a great job of just being, I mean, we're not always seeing them in the kill cam, you know, outside of their final judgments, but they're just throwing down so much damage and helping just clean up so much of this for the side of Guardians of the Sun. 30 seconds left for LeBron Lovers to try and get some movement on this card as they've been stalled.
And only a small amount of time to really not even just get back, but to try and play through. Overtime is your only solution here to get to that second point. But you look between here and there, that is a lot of space to cover in such a short amount of time. And overtime is danger at that one as Jaro Yarn Amplifier try to get in just with a few pick damage, not enough. Wolfarax finds barrier, still not enough, goes down a little early. Synthics is one with Jaro finds a second double elimination against the Spore Bombs.
Yeah, the Tangling Vortex coming through strong. That might just be it for LeBron Lovers as they have lost this match. Guardians of the Sun complete the revenge tour on LeBron Lovers. Take this map 3-1 and the series 2-0.
And LeBron Lovers, you could tell at the very end, tried to find the overtime and it wasn't enough. But I imagine it was 100% enough for Nunny getting MVP off of back-to-back final judgments, infinite ammunition, and a nasty Cosmic Yarn Amplifier assist.
It was just beautiful coming out from the side of Guardians of the Sun. They really came into the series, knew their bands needed a target for the side of LeBron lovers, knew Dingers was absolutely not. I mean, Dingers is still great on so many heroes, but the Moon Knight had just been a standout for them, and they got that ban out of the way and really set themselves up for great success, and they're able to dominate the series 2-0.